Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Top names in the Telugu film industry, including producer and Allu Arjun's father, Allu Arjun, met with Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy today. During the meeting, Revanth Reddy told filmmakers and actors that celebrities should be responsible for controlling fans and that there should be no compromise on law and order. This meeting happened because a 35-year-old woman died in a stampede and her son was also critically injured during the screening of Allu Arjun's Pushpa 2 in Hyderabad some days ago. But interestingly, in the recent past, CM Revanth Reddy and his ministers have been taking digs at celebrities from the Telugu film industry, and his government has also announced that it would not give permission for benefit shows and hike ticket rates like it had for Pushpa 2. Now, if these measures are implemented, it will have a huge impact on Telugu film releases like Ram Charan's Game Changer, Balakrishna's Daku Maharaj and Venkatesh's Vastu Namam, as producers rely on these price hikes to reap in benefits during the opening weekend. Now, the Telugu industry, not surprisingly, is the second largest film industry in India after the Hindi film industry. And in 2024, it's seen some of the biggest pan-India releases like Pushpa 2, The Rule, made 1,500 crore, Kalki, which made over 1,000 crore, Devara, 380 crore, Hanuman, 300 crore. So what has really triggered this war between the Telangana government and the Telugu film industry? We've seen such instances in the past, but in Telangana today, it seems like it has to do with Allu Arjun being related to a film family, the Allu Konidela film family, which Pawan Kalyan, who's the Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, is one of the most prominent members. Others, of course, point out at how, at a press meet, Allu Arjun was supposedly forgotten the name of the Chief Minister. However, Arjun thanked the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, Chandrababu Naidu, and the Deputy CM, Pawan Kalyan. So that's one theory for you. But then the state cinematography minister, Venkat Reddy, hit out saying that Allu Arjun should have respect for the government and the chief minister, and he's demanded an apology for the government from Allu Arjun. And there have been a string of such recent instances of personalities, political personalities, ministers from the ruling government taking on Allu Arjun, criticizing him with statements. All this appears to be part of a plan. And very interestingly, in today's meeting with the Chief Minister, Revanth Reddy said that if the film industry wants to benefit, it would be better to keep politics away. That's a clincher. So is this war, this supposed political war between the film industry and the ruling Telangana government, is it a clash between two personalities, the Chief Minister and actor Allu Arjun? Or is this Revanth Reddy actually working to quash a possible star-turned political opponent, Allu Arjun? There's rumors agog in Hyderabad and of course in Delhi. Joining me to discuss this on the News9 Plus show today are Girish Wankade, who joins me from Mumbai, R. Nagendra, film reviewer, someone who's worked with Allu Arjun in the past. He joins me from Hyderabad. In the studio, I have with me my colleague, Krishna Kumar. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. I want to start by asking you this, Krishna, day of fast-paced developments. Yep. It's all been leading up to this one great meeting with the Chief Minister. It's like what you said a few days ago. It's like there are two movies that are playing out. You have a Pushpa 2 that's breaking record after record, and you have this parallel political thriller that's playing on the ground with Allu Arjun at the center of things.
Yeah, and look at the attendance for that industry meeting that the Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy had with the Telugu film industry. It had, people, senior and veteran filmmakers like Raghavendra Rao, like Trivikram, to other filmmakers like Boyapati Srinu and Vamshi as well, and senior actors and Nagarjuna, Venkatesh and others. Incidentally, Allu Arjun's father, Allu Arvind, who's also himself a veteran filmmaker, film producer in the Telugu and Tamil film industries, he was also there present for this meeting. And that meeting, quote unquote, the English translation of the theme of the meeting is how to have an healthy atmosphere. incidentally. So clearly, is that pointing to the fact that the atmosphere at this point between the government and the Telugu film industry is not healthy? Well, that's a $1 million question. But apart from that, the meeting was also about making Hyderabad a global filmmaking hub. So, in that sense, Revanth Reddy there, making it seem as if this is the government is all for the film industry. But then the message was loud and clear. As far as public events are concerned, whenever you have film stars walking out to the public, it is the responsibility of the stars to ensure, all things are in order, especially a stampede death doesn't take place. So, in that sense, it's Revanth Reddy balancing the both. But then in the larger context of things, when you have Allu Arjun, who's directly related to the Deputy Chief Minister of an NDA ally in Andhra Pradesh, and then you add to that theory that you're talking about, he remembers Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu and Deputy Chief Minister Pawan Kalyan, but sort of fumbles on the name of the Telangana Chief Minister, has a sip of water, and then says, Revanth Reddy Garu, thank you for allowing the ticket rates to be higher. All of that adds to it, but fundamentally speaking, whatever has happened has resulted in a major high-level meeting between the Telugu film industry. It was not attended by the the newbies or the ones on the edges of the industry. It is the biggest of the big filmmakers who came to meet Revanth Reddy. So clearly, Tollywood is feeling the heat of all the goings on.
Absolutely, Krishna. Tollywood's feeling the heat, and it must be tough for the Telugu film industry. They divided the state. Andhra Pradesh was divided into 2 states. They didn't divide the film industry. But here you have the film industry now feeling the heat because they have to keep politicians on both states happy. But that point that you made about that press conference that Allu Arjun gave, where he's supposedly forgotten the name of the chief minister. Let's take a look at that bite.
Thank you. And Mukyanga Ivala, I'd like to thank the government of Telangana for giving us a special prize. Ivala film industry inta support chesinanduku Mukhyamantri Governor Mukhyamantri sorry మాట్లాడి గొంత ఆరిపోయింది. I'd like to continue from where I stopped. పేరు గుర్తుకుంది. Sorry, I'd like to continue from where I stopped. Firstly, I'd like to thank the government of Telangana, especially the respected Chief Minister, Revanth Reddy Garu. Thank you so much.
Well, he seemed to have forgotten the chief minister's name, but then he came right back after that sip of water and he remembered him and very respectfully paid tribute to him.
Yeah, I respectfully also look at that as just one of the theories, not necessarily an indication of what exactly is going on. But I'm more focused and concerned about what exactly is going on. The events of what happened in Sandhya's theatre, the Stampede, has resulted in this massive meeting in which it is not just in that sense only Allu Arjun being targeted. If Allu Arjun fans or onlookers are thinking that Allu Arjun is extremely successful right now, he's the biggest star in the country, so he is coming under attack, and it looks like the message is being sent not just to Allu Arjun but on the whole to the Telugu film industry as a whole. So tomorrow, if this were to happen with somebody else, then they will not also be feeling the heat and not go scot free. So in that sense, it's also sending a warning signal to the Telugu film industry, saying the fact that hey, you better watch what you're doing. Yes, you're very famous, but then if you're as famous as you are, as responsible as you are, with great power, comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility, and that is a line from Spider-Man. It was another very popular blockbuster. But activist and actor Kasturi now joins us from Chennai. Kasturi, welcome to the News9 Plus show. Kasturi, we were just talking about this very famous urban legend that Rajnikant once brought traffic to a halt when the chief minister was heading out from her post garden residence. We don't know if that's true, but that's one of those urban legends that talks about the power of Rajnikant. Coming back to 2024, Kasturi, very interesting meeting between the entire Telugu film industry and the Chief Minister Revanth Reddy in Hyderabad today. What's cooking? What does this seem like there was some kind of political rivalry that was brewing there? That one theory suggests that the Congress believed that Allu Arjun could be a political threat to them in Hyderabad, and therefore the series of statements against him and Pushpa 2, and then today you have this great meeting where, as one of our panelists just said, that it's possibly the end of the story, it's the climax, and there's not going to be any more trouble after this. Your take on this, Kasturi?
No, I think a lot of stuff is actually starting. First of all, yes, I think this is all the beginning of all of this is the Pavan Kalyan effect.
Right.
Congress is in power in a few states. I want to say two states in the south, Karnataka and Telangana, and that's it. And they are under tremendous pressure to get the popular sentiment towards them, which they're not. They don't have any celebrities in their uh, box of tricks, so to
Right.
speak. In contrast, Andhra under Mr. Naidu, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, is legendary for enjoying the support of the film industry.
Yes.
So I think Mr. Revanth Reddy is trying to take a leaf out of Mr. Naidu. Mr. Revanth Reddy used to be a very close aide of Mr. Naidu. He is
Yes.
still considered by many as a quasi TDP man. Still,
Yes.
I mean, I don't. I'm just saying. So I think he learned his lessons under Mr. Naidu, and he does not underestimate the power of films over Telugu people.
Right.
And I think in some level, he does resent the fact that he doesn't have any film celebrity in his retinue, and
Right.
he has to, he is his own hero. He's the biggest star in his government. As far as Allu Arjun goes, it's very unfortunate. The accident was very unfortunate, very tragic,
Yes.
but it has snowballed into a political free for all. So I think in the beginning there was no action taken on Mr. Allu Arjun,
Yes.
and then KTR went ahead and made such a mockery of it. He poked fun at the sitting government and the chief minister so much
Yes.
that they couldn't afford to sit without taking any action. They were forced to do something to
Right.
prove that they are taking the matter seriously. So from there onwards, it has been downhill for everyone concerned.
Right.
Now, today in the meeting, which is obviously something to be expected because they are taking such stringent steps, and it was kind of getting to be a hostile environment for
Yes.
film people and film people. If you notice clearly, nobody really came out in complete support of Mr. Allu Arjun.
Right.
Nobody actually said the government was wrong because everybody needs the state to
Yes.
support them. So actually, they have gone today as a conciliatory
Yes.
gesture to curry favor with the ruling regime because you
Yes.
need them to assure them that the film industry stands by Mr. Revanth Reddy
Yes.
and his government, and on top of it, to
Yes.
beg for no concessions to be taken away. In
Right.
spite of their very conciliatory approach,
Yes.
the update is that all preview, all premieres, all special shows are cancelled until further notice. I think it's not going to happen in the Congress regime. They're not going to come back. And that's a
Right.
a
Right.
huge blow to big star movies.
Right. It's a huge blow indeed, Kasturi, and thanks for putting that out there. The fact that how vulnerable the film industry really is. We talk about all these figures, all these blockbuster movies hitting 1,000, 2,000 crore, but at the end of the day, they're all at the mercy of the ruling party there, and that's what I think the government seems to have done. Nagendra, break down for our viewers the importance of today's meeting between the Telugu film industry and the Chief Minister, and particularly there's this one line that the CM said that if the film industry wants to benefit, it would be better to keep politics away. Is he sounding a warning shot to potential political rivals from the Telugu film industry? You have the case of NTR, who's a titan who who founded a political startup and then went on to become Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. Is this Revanth Reddy telling Tollywood that please don't have any political aspirations?
See, the whole thing happened after once KTR spoke like that against KTR that what kind of a chief minister you are when a film star has forgotten who was helped by you with
Yes.
the hike of and with the premiere shots and all that.
Yes.
He even doesn't remember your name, what kind of a chief minister you are. When he ridiculed like that, the
Yes.
total, as I told you earlier meeting
So
also.
it's an ego issue, you're saying, that this was taken up as, it's become an ego battle.
I will tell you, there is no such political heat. What he wanted to tell the people
Yes.
is because the opposition parties are taking advantages of this situation and
Right.
make things worse here in Hyderabad. That
Yes.
is what he exactly, admonished people to be away from the politics and do their business, mind their
Right.
business. But when Dilraju came as the latest chairman of the FDC of Telangana,
Yes.
he took all honors of conducting a meeting and maintaining a balance between the government and the film industry.
Yes.
There is no such problem, and Ravant Reddy is all the while, all the chief ministers have helped the film industry grow in its own direction with
Right.
all the facilities given. So that is no such. Dilraju must be awarded all the appreciation for this kind of a meeting to happen. Really,
Right, right. So,
Now
so
today-
Nagendra, does this meeting today, how crucial was this meeting today? Does this mean that now there is going to be peace between Tollywood, the Telugu film industry, and the ruling Congress in Telangana?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. A person like Dilraju, when he came inside, who is very close to the film industry, a Mac producer whose film is going to be released in the next year, a game changer with Ram Charan, and
Yes.
he's a great filmmaker, a distributor, an exhibitor, holding many theaters in Telangana and Andhra, and is a very close person to the Chief Minister of Telangana, Ravant Reddy, and
Yes.
is a very sort of name in the film industry. He is there to take care of all the things, in order. In order, he will manage all things within a cool manner.
Girish Wankade, you're watching very quietly. Of course, you're tracking the numbers on Pushpa 2 as well. It's racing towards 2,000 crore. You think these controversies are good for the film, but in the long run, they would impact on Allu Arjun, brand Allu Arjun? We've been talking about this earlier as well.
Yeah, it will anyway. The film is super hit, and people are watching this film. It has got a repeat value. It will surely go to 2,000 crore mark. And irrespective of all these controversies,
Where
the
is
saddest part of course, that stampede which took place, and now that Allu Arjun is also agreed to compensate 2 crores for the family of the deceased and all. So there is lot of film which is in the news. Any news which is negative, which has got a star like Allu Arjun irresponsible, will not help him. Yes, but right now, Telugu film industry is at the zenith. Everybody across the globe, including Hindi film industry, is looking at it because they are the first one to reach 2,000 crore mark. At this moment, all these controversies are kept aside because irrespective of these controversies, the numbers are amazing. Even on the Christmas day, it was bigger than Baby John, which was released on the same day, which was a new film. So Pushpa 2 is yet to steam out. It is huge. The numbers are huge, and Allu Arjun is one of the biggest stars at this moment.
Right.
And irrespective of the controversies, the film will be there. This fan following will grow exponentially,
Yeah.
and of course, people will expect some more responsibility from him.
Right. I guess that's what the Chief Minister also said. But Krishna, there's been this very rich tradition of film stars turning politicians, and very successful politicians at that, in Tamil Nadu, of course, but in Andhra Pradesh as well, where you have NTR, who became the Chief Minister. He founded Telugu Desam Party and went on to be Chief Minister successive terms.
Right. And eventually Chiranjeevi as well, who launched his own political party.
And he launched his own political party. But of course, that was, I think he kind of folded up that party.
He eventually merged with the Congress.
Merged with the Congress.
But I clearly remember when Chiranjeevi launched his political party,
Yes.
I think 10 lakh people came for the launch.
Yes.
It was insanity. There was a
Right.
stampede there as well.
Yeah, there was a stampede, of course. Unfortunately, no lives lost
Yeah.
there. But Pawan Kalyan is the one who's taken on the mantle of the
Right.
politician from the Allu Konidela family. It's a very, very interesting family. Looking ahead, is Allu Arjun a potential Chief Minister candidate? Is it too early to call him that?
From whatever little I know in terms of, watching Allu Arjun speak and what Allu Arjun is professed to want to being, Allu Arjun is very clearly focused on cinema, on a particular kind of cinema that is mass, commercial, masala cinema.
Right.
He's made it very clear that I am not here to make, movies just to, that are meant to win awards. I want to entertain the entire family. I want to entertain family audiences. I want to entertain everybody. So Allu Arjun has almost never professed to wanting to move to politics or wanting to even move to a different kind of cinema. He wants to make these big entertainers, that's meant for everybody, where people can throng theaters in hordes.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that he wanted. He's always been talking about wanting to make the biggest Indian film. He's almost there already.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that he wants to take Indian cinema globally.
Right.
He's spoken about that in our show with our MD, duologue with Barun Das. He very clearly said that he wants to make a film, a Telugu film meant for the world. So I, at this stage, have no reason to believe that Allu Arjun has political ambitions. People in his family who had political ambitions, like Chiranjeevi, have openly come out and said actors should not go to politics.
Actors should not go to politics.
So in that sense, I'm sure that advice is given to Allu Arjun as well.
Let's look at what he told our MD, Barun Das, on the duologue.
When I'm making a film, I'm making it very authentically for my language. For example, I'm just saying, Pushpa. There was a time where we had this conversation that it is happening in Tirupati. The characters' names are Mangalam Sinu and Srivalli. It's a very South Indian, and the geography is also that. Should we change it? I said, no, let's not change it. Let everybody know that they're watching in a different language. But this is happening in the roots of Andhra Pradesh. Let it be authentic. Let's not be apologetic about that, and let's not try to, change something that is ours for, suiting the market. Let's be more authentic, because more local is more global.
So that's Allu Arjun there talking about his plans to go global with his movies. And of course, Pushpa 3 is possibly going to be the testing ground for that. And we had the producer here not so long ago actually confirming that there is a Pushpa 3 in the works, and that is potentially going to be the movie that could actually eclipse the Pushpa 2 record. That's going to be 2,000 crore, possibly the first Indian film to cross 2,000 crore. You had that very famous one, Krishna, of Rajnikant. I mean, he forever had this plan to launch a political party, even launched it, and then he kind of withdrew it very quickly.
Another reason why I would clearly doubt why Allu Arjun would hazard a try in politics. But then again, look at the situation. He is in the situation he is because of politics.
Yes.
The kind of impact that this entire situation has on him
Yes.
could possibly turn his mind around. But if anybody were to ask him as of 1 week ago, or as of even today, there's no reason to believe that Allu Arjun is entering politics. But I'd be interested to know what all of these events, what kind of an impact it has on him, and whether that will result in him changing his mind about the whole thing in the future. There are no guarantees for that.
No guarantees for that. But Krishna, suddenly something came to mind. You remember that incident back from the 90s? That very famous clash between a chief minister in Tamil Nadu and a superstar who felt slighted by the way the chief minister spoke about.
That is a legendary story. I think everybody should know it.
You must hear this. I want to hear this from you, Krishna. You're a goldmine of such
anecdotes. So it's basically an area called the Poets Garden in Chennai, where everybody lives. At that time, the chief minister Jayalalitha, and Rajnikant and many others live in this Poets Garden. There's a very small turning that leads you into the entire place of bungalows over there, and the police over there had just stopped traffic. Because Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha was going to go home, and Rajnikant's car, incidentally, was part of that traffic that was stuck over there.
Right.
And then Rajnikant, eventually politely asked them, saying the fact that, can you please let me go, so that and they said that no, nobody is allowed to go. We don't care if you're a superstar or not. Nobody's allowed to go. We are waiting for the Chief Minister. And then Rajnikant said, all right, let's do this then. And this is all stories. He got out of his car and lit a cigarette. And what happened was a multiplication of that traffic jam.
Right.
And then there was a crowd that was lining up to see him. And the traffic jam was getting worse and uncontrollable, to the point where the police eventually came to him, apologized to him, saying, please get back in your car. We'll let your car through. Do not create any more of a ruckus. And all Rajnikant had to do was step out of his car and just light a cigarette. That was one of the legendary stories of power plays between the film industry and politics. They always think of South India as a place where the lines blur between cinema and politics. And, if we thought that Adash was going to go away, I guess this entire Allu Arjun episode is just going to reinstate that all over again.
Yes, absolutely, Krishna. And, thanks for jogging our memory with that incident. And I would think Allu Arjun today is exactly where Rajnikant was in the 90s, at the height of his popularity, that all he had to do was to, step out of a car and light a cigarette and create a traffic jam and, halt the chief minister's cavalcade. That's an urban legend, by the way. It's not confirmed.
Yeah, it's an urban legend. Please don't take this for factual storytelling over here. This is an urban legend over here. Please don't go cross-check this with Mr. Rajinikanth eventually in Assam.
Could you look into the looking glass, into the crystal ball, Kasturi, very quickly and tell us what you think happening, what you see happening in the days ahead after this meeting? You think that it's going to be all business as usual now, or is there going to be some more heat that the Telugu film industry can expect from the state government there?
I'm shooting here in Hyderabad, and my co-stars are all pretty disappointed at how the meeting has unfolded because, without premiere shows, budgets are going to be slashed drastically because almost 30 to 50% of a movie's collection in a big stars movie
Yes.
comes from the opening day, opening weekend collection. So if a movie opens on Thursday,
Right.
we're talking about Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's 50% of the movie's revenue in Telugu speaking states. So everybody is like, oh my God, how is this going to work? How is this going to impact our paychecks?
Yes.
That's what my co-stars here are worried about.
Right.
Because when a big stars movie cuts budgets,
Yes.
everybody gets impacted. So I think this is going to be a windfall for Andhra.
Yes.
And also, it's kind of, I don't think the people are going to take to it kindly. At the
Right.
end of it, yes, a life was lost. Yes, something terrible has happened. Yes, justice must be served out. But I think the people don't think this is how justice must be served out. I don't think they're very much in favor of
Right.
cutting their favorite pastime and cutting their favorite. I mean, the Aam Aadmi
Yes.
here, he wants to do an FDFS, so he is open to having regulations, but not a complete ban on it.
Yes.
It's not going to be perceived as a people-friendly measure by the government, and they are going to be on the back foot. But given what has unfolded in the last week, I do believe both the police and the government, they have their own, let's say, obstinacies.
Yes.
The more adverse feedback they get, the more they're going to tighten the strings. So I'm not foreseeing a very pleasant 3.5 years for the Telugu industry.
Right, absolutely. Difficult times ahead for the Telugu film industry. Thanks very much, Kasturi. And the fact is that we were just talking about how the Telugu film industry, the state of Andhra was bifurcated over a decade ago, but the Telugu film industry is now caught in the middle of two political parties in two different states, and that seems to be the Telugu film industry's misfortune, the fact that it's got into this very unseemly political battle here in Hyderabad over a very unfortunate incident, a stampede that resulted in the death of a fan and her son being critical in hospital. That's a story we keep tracking on the News9 show. Thank you very much for joining us, Kasturi, Ms. Nagender, and of course Girish Vankade, my colleague Krishna Kumar in the studio with me. 20 years ago on this day, an underwater earthquake measuring 9 on the Richter scale hit the Indonesian islands. And 2 hours later, a wall of water, a tsunami, traveled across the Indian Ocean, flattening coastlines and killing people on an unprecedented scale. 230,000 people died in the tsunami in 15 countries. Over 16,000 Indians were killed. The Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami was the 21st century's deadliest natural catastrophe. In fact, it's one of the deadliest cataclysms of all time. India failed to react to the tsunami then because we had no early warning system, neither for earthquakes nor for tsunamis triggered by earthquakes. 20 years later, extreme weather events are increasing. So how prepared are we to handle this kind of a disaster? Joining me today are two experts, Major General V.K. Datta, who was with the NDMA for decades, and Commodore Srikanth Kesnur, naval veteran and historian. And in the studio I have with me my colleague Deepak Badana. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. General Datta, I want to start by asking you this. In 2024, extreme weather events are increasing. Do you see the possibility of a 2004 tsunami kind of incident happening again? This is something that you trained for at the NDMA. You were there for over a decade. Tell us what your prediction is on the likelihood of such an incident happening again?
Yeah, Sandeep, your first question, that can an incident like that happen? Yes, it can. In fact, in the entire early warning system today, all over the world, the only thing we cannot actually predict is an earthquake.
Yes.
The only early warning we get for an earthquake is not more than about 30 odd seconds, which is detected by seismic detectors, which will let you have sirens getting activated,
Yes.
or they'll send you automatic SMS to see that earthquake is going to strike.
Right.
Now, when an earthquake strikes, two waves are generated. One is the primary wave,
Yes.
and the next is a secondary wave. So this 30 seconds warning is only possible by the help of the seismic detectors. And if you are very alert and you practice your drills, if you know that siren which has gone off
Yes.
is actually indicating earthquake, maybe then you can run out of the building.
I'm going to come to you about this point about the 30-second, the time that we have and the earthquake drills in a moment. But I want to bring in Commodore Kesnur in on this. Commodore Kesnur, the Indian Navy kind of came into its own after the 2004 tsunami, because it was one of the first responders to the countries around the Indian Ocean region. You had warships speedily, dispensing assistance around the Indian Ocean rim countries. But tell us now, 20 years later, what the protocols are for the Indian Navy to respond to the event in the event of a crisis of this nature.
Yes, I mean, as you brought out, we responded with alacrity at that time. And if I remember the figures right, I think about 32 ships and about 5,000 personnel and aircraft, mobilized within a span of 24 to 36 hours. Look, as far as the protocols are concerned, they would by and large remain the same, because the Navy has a system of having, ready ship and aircraft at all times.
Right.
I guess now there is much greater integration with agencies like the National Disaster Management Agency and INCOIS to get early warning of systems.
Yes.
Most importantly, the vulnerable areas have been marked out. So you now have a sense of what might be expected. These are called tsunami genic zones.
Yes.
So largely in the Andamans and Sumatra and the Magran coast. So therefore, the Navy, has a set of ships, aircraft, people ready at all times, and for multiple disaster. It need not be only for tsunami alone. It could be for a range of things. Also, you are far better prepared in terms of, various other things, be it logistics and supply chain management, be it equipment, the quality of equipment, the quality of ships, the quality of platforms has undergone a huge change since 2004. We got ships like the Jalashwa that I sort of commanded, which are meant for these sort of things. The large LSTs, platforms, much bigger aircraft, bigger ship. So I think on the whole, our capabilities to respond to this has improved. Our communication systems, of course, are much faster.
Yes.
So I think all of that collectively will mean that your ability to take off would probably, arguably, be even better than what it was last time, in case such a tragic outcome were to happen. Obviously, we wouldn't want that to happen.
Right, of course, but we are much better prepared. But, Deepak, before I come to you, I'm going to quickly ask General Datta this follow-on question to what he had explained, the fact that it takes just 30 seconds for us to react to an earthquake and a tsunami of the kind that we saw 20 years back. General Datta, explain the kind of protocols that are in place now that would necessitate this kind of a warning being issued, and how would we respond to it? How did the NDMA, that's the agency that was set up after the tsunami, how would it respond to this kind of an incident?
Okay, Sandeep, because your first question was that how much warning do you get for an earthquake? There's a difference between an earthquake and a tsunami striking thereafter. Earthquake, if it happens anywhere in the world, you will just get a 30-second early warning for that earthquake, depending on the depth and the distance of the epicenter. Now, as far as the tsunamis are concerned, once a tsunami occurs because of an earthquake, the location of the tsunami, for example, the 2004 tsunami occurred in Java, Sumatra area of Indonesia.
Yes.
It was a 9.3 on Richter scale. Now from there, once the earthquake took place, because of the tectonic movement of plates, of the Burma plate and the Indian plate,
Yes.
The earthquake created a massive tsunami which traveled across the Indian Ocean, affecting 14 countries. Now, if it happens in Java, Sumatra area, Indonesia is also known as the Rim of Fire. That is a
Yes.
very active volcanic area. Now, once that tsunami occurs there, and by the time it hits the India's east coast and Andamans, we get a warning of not more than about 90 minutes to 1 hour to Andamans,
Yes.
and maximum 2 hours to the east coast. So today, because of the early warning system, the inquiries and the tsunami early warning systems which have been put in place post 2004, in fact, the inquiries came into existence in 1998.
Right.
But the tsunami early warning system, which has been put in place now, came about in 2007. They've got number of buoys, they've got 300 sensing stations. They are internationally connected now. They are also connected with our satellite systems. So it's a constant monitoring of the sea activity, whether it's the seabed, the rise of waves, and the earthquake taking place. Within 12 minutes, we'll come to know where the earthquake has occurred and how much time will it take for a tsunami, if it gets generated, to hit your coast.
Right.
So it is 2 hours to east coast, 90 minutes to 1 hour to Andamans, and therefore the NDMA, after coming into existence, has now collaborated and calibrated the response mechanism to such an extent that all our east coast states and districts are well aware of this.
Yes.
Communications are in place, protocol by the local state governments, the district authorities, the fishermen villages which are there on the sea coast. There are wireless communication, there are siren systems. They know what to do in case of a tsunami warning, where to run, which is a high ground, where
Yes.
to take shelter. As against a tsunami, if you talk about a cyclone, you get a warning of 72 hours.
Yes.
It can also happen that you get a warning of a cyclone, and in that warning only a tsunami can occur.
Yes.
So therefore, today, the National Disaster Management Authority, along with the inquires and the Tsunami Early Warning Center in Hyderabad, we have done a human service, combining all the agencies, early warning centers, the state emergency operation centers, the National Crisis and Emergency Center in the Ministry of Home, the National Disaster Management Authority control room. So they are all well connected now.
Yes.
They have got satellite communication. Of course, there are other protocols also being followed. So today, we'll get a warning of 1 hour to Andamans, 2 hours to the east coast to evacuate that area before a major tsunami hits.
Right.
And the 2004 tsunami was the biggest earthquake in 21st century and the biggest tsunami.
Yes.
If you are aware, subsequently in 2011, the Fukushima, that is the Japan earthquake, and the Fukushima nuclear disaster also occurred because of a tsunami. So today, the maturing of the NDMA, we had the Agriculture Ministry looking after disaster management till 1999. Then it was given to the Ministry of Home. And after the 2004 tsunami, it was then decided that you need an authority in India.
Yes, it's
And
brought
that
under the PMO.
2005
Yes.
DM Act.
Yes.
2005 DM Act put into place the National Disaster Management Authority, the State Disaster Management Authorities, and the District Disaster Management Authorities, with the collaboration of the response forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, the National Disaster Response Force, the State Disaster Response Force, the NGOs, the civil police, the
Yes.
Home Guard, the Coast Guards. Everybody is in sync today.
Right.
We carry out massive mock exercises for this every year. Inquest does it, NDMA does it. So that time is now, it's a different era now.
Yes.
We are fully prepared and we are fully geared technologically
Yes.
and physically by the way of training and understanding and awareness generation with the public.
It's
How about you,
it's a different era, as you mentioned, General Datta. And Deepak, the fact is that the ultimate disaster response force in India is the military, one of the largest militaries in the world, the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. And it's very wise that the government chose not to set up a parallel disaster response force. They're leveraging the power of the military to respond to these incidents. But you believe that India is safer today than it was 20 years back when the tsunami hit?
See, here's where we come to a mixed bag. When you look at the measures that have been put in place, yes, we've come a long way since 2004. But we must also understand that today the frequency of erratic weather events
Yes.
is higher than ever. Every single year is hotter than the previous one.
Yes.
And the frequency of cyclones and tsunamis has increased. So, yeah, and again, then you have to look at the subcontinent.
Yes.
The subcontinent, is one of the most densely populated parts on the entire globe.
Absolutely. And,
So, yeah, we've got a number of challenges on our hand, and hopefully the measures that have been put in place will work to their full effect.
I'm going to ask this to Commodore Kesnur before we wrap. We're completely out of time. But Commodore Kesnur, closing comments from you. HADR is very critical to the Indian Navy, the humanitarian assistance and disaster responses. Has the Indian Navy been stepping up its HADR responsibilities in the last couple of years, given the frequency of these extreme weather events that Deepak was mentioning?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you've seen since 2004 until now, if you were to put together HADR, NEO, and other such kind of events, I think the Indian Navy has been involved every year or every second year. So obviously, we're building up infrastructure. For example, the decision to have the fleet support ships,
Yes.
perhaps drones will come into a bigger play in future. So I think these things are going to be constantly there, and the Navy is going to play a very important role. One of the things I want to emphasize, Sandeep, taking off from what the two previous speakers said, that HADR consists essentially of response, first preparedness, and second response, and third resilience. I think the Indian Navy contributes in each of these, and particularly when you have issues like tsunami, which happen at sea or from sea, you're going to see a lot more of the Navy as what the Army calls the foot on ground. The
Yes.
Navy would say ships at sea.
Right.
So that's where you come in, and you got to build up capabilities for that
Yes.
constantly, which the Navy is doing.
Absolutely. Boots on the ground and ships out at sea, the Army and the Navy working in concert with, of course, the NDMA. You just heard it from our experts there. The kind of elaborate preparations that have been made, particularly the lessons that were learned after this horrific incident in 2004. Hopefully these kind of casualties would be a thing of the past, and we've learned our lessons, and we've put together protocols, as General Datta was mentioning, to respond very quickly to a tsunami of the kind that hit us in 2004.